Welcome back, peeps. My name's Eddie. This is Edutainment, and today we're sitting down with Anthony from Nights of Horror to go over some more East versus West Coast.
All right, so we're talking today about shared properties, our non-shared properties, and just all around thoughts to the event. Everything's announced, so let's get down to it with our shared properties.
Yeah, so long story short, the event is completely announced. We know exactly what we're getting. Obviously, we have two different events, but with a lot of similarities. So starting off with our shared properties. We have 5 shared properties, one which isn't completely shared, but we'll get to that towards the end. But first and foremost, we have Stranger Things, we have Halloween 4, we have Trick or Treat, Poltergeist, and the last one that is like shared but not shared, which is the Blumhouse Productions.
Horrors of Blumhouse Chapter 2.
Yes, sir. Are they actually calling it Chapter 2?
At least on the Horror Nights Hollywood website, they're calling it Chapter 2. I don't know if they're doing it for Orlando. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to be different from. I mean, I already know there's going to be different stuff in the Orlando and the Hollywood, but ours they're calling it Chapter 2. Gotcha.
All right, so we'll get to that one. That'll be a good transition. But let's start off with Stranger Things. And what do you think about it?
I am super excited for Stranger Things season 1. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really good. We're having ours in a sound stage, so that's awesome, and that gives the availability to have the creators play with environments, play with like weather and stuff like that. Especially, I've always thought of the Upside Down being like a cold place and stuff like that. So going in the Upside Down transition, it can be awesome that they have like the AC full blast or something like that, where it's like super cold in there. I'm very excited to see the costume and makeup for the Demogorgon. That should be awesome. I want to see how they're going to incorporate the kids in the maze, if they're going to incorporate the kids in the maze. And a lot of the infamous scenes from season 1 should be awesome.
Yeah. Do you actually watch?
Yeah, I've watched both seasons, and I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things. And when I found out this was announced, I was really excited. I mean, I love the whole '80s theme of the show, and if they can incorporate a lot of that into the maze, which John Murdy said he was a fan of, that should be awesome. One of the things that I'm really hoping to hear in the maze is the song "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" That was a major part of season 1, and so I'm hoping we see, like I said, not only that, but a lot of the infamous scenes from season 1.
Yeah. So my thoughts on Stranger Things, I actually am not a huge fan. I had watched the first season and I think I watched like 2 episodes after that from the second season and stopped. Had no reason to continue up till it was announced. The one thing that I can say about this announcement was, by far, I hope you agree with me, it was the best trailer for any of the houses announced this year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, when that trailer came out, I was losing my stuff, man, because it's the transition. Well, for one, it has the iconic score, the theme song, which everybody knows by now, and the fact that it transitioned from Universal Studios, all you see is the bike, which we're assuming is Will's bike. Yeah. And then it transitions and goes upside down, and we're in the upside down, and then you see Universal Studios, and it's got like black goo vines everywhere, and the sky's red and stuff. I just thought that was so awesome. Probably, yeah, like you said, by far the best trailer they released this year.
Yeah, and it was truly custom because they didn't utilize like clips from a house or clips from the show. It was made completely custom. It really set the tone and made it hard for me to appreciate the announcements after that. I wasn't too excited because I had done a leaked lineup video.
Yeah.
And this was one of the ones on the leaked lineup video, and I even said it on that video that I did. I wasn't excited about this house, but it seems like it's going to come because it's a really popular house. But after I saw that trailer, I was like, what the hell? They just made me a believer. So I'm excited to see this one. And it's also the one that's getting my girlfriend to actually come to the event. She's not a huge horror fan, but this is bringing her, which is another point. It's bringing a lot of attention to the event that we haven't had before from non-horror fans who are more fans of this particular series.
Yeah, my whole thing too is I just hope they do it right. You know, I mean, I'm very much looking forward to it, and I have complete trust and faith in Halloween Horror Nights. These are the same people that brought us Walking Dead and American Horror Story in previous years, which those mazes I loved. And I'm hoping they do the same thing with Stranger Things. Just it's a hit or miss with this show. It could be either really good or it can be decent, but I'm hoping that they do a really good job on this. From what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing, it looks pretty good. I've only seen very little, and by that it's like sculpts and stuff like that of the Demogorgon and stuff. But I'm very much looking forward to this, and I cannot wait to go through it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's going to be up there on my list. But that brings us into the next house that we share, which you already know is my favorite, actually, which is Halloween 4.
Halloween 4.
Yes, sir. So Michael Myers is returning. It's one that's not going to have Laurie Strode, so that's always interesting because she's part of the iconic storyline that we all love. But Halloween 4, he's actually like chasing his niece, not Laurie. What are your thoughts?
Well, let's see. It's Michael Myers for one, so you can't go wrong with Michael Myers. So I love Michael Myers. He's one of my all-time favorite serial killers. I don't know if you've watched, and it literally just came out today as this recording, but they finally released the TV spot for Halloween Horror Nights for both events. And in that teaser trailer, they show the three mazes that, of course, we're obviously sharing, which was Stranger Things, Poltergeist, and Halloween 4. And in the Halloween section, they showed the infamous scene with him hiding behind the white sheets. Now, that kind of begs the question, is it going to be Halloween 4 all the way, or are we going to have little bits and pieces of Easter eggs from other movies in there? If they're doing, of course, that infamous scene in the commercial, that's an infamous Halloween 1 scene. And it's reoccurred every now and then in like when Laurie Strode is kind of losing it and she kind of is hallucinating. I mean, she'll see stuff like that. But I'm very curious now, are they going to just incorporate every Halloween movie up until 4 as little minor Easter eggs, or is it going to be all of 4 and then maybe little hints and Easter eggs as you go through the maze?
So my understanding from what I've heard, for continuity purposes, they chose 4 because it's an 80s themed Halloween movie. The rest of them were in the 70s. But my understanding is that that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to be integrating a little bit of the other ones, even the Season of the Witch. So even though Michael Myers isn't in that one, there's going to be like little Easter eggs for it. And I just want to point out that you said that Michael Myers is your favorite serial killer, which this is the only context where that would be appropriate to be said. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because you can't just go around in the real world and be like, yeah, I got a favorite serial killer, and But yeah, as far as horror movie goes, though, I mean, as in horror movies, Michael Myers has always been one of my favorites, and he's just a legit, may I say, badass, because he just does what he does, doesn't let anyone get in his way, and if anybody gets in his way, well, 9 out of 10 chances is they're dead. So, I'm very much looking forward to seeing this. I've been watching a lot of construction updates. I haven't been able to get out to the park myself, but I watch a lot of other YouTubers who do construction updates, and it looks like a lot of our facade is going to be the gas station scene from Halloween 4. And I'm really excited to see. It's a huge facade, and I'm really excited to see the finishing product. And yeah, I mean, it was cool because John Murdy did say that since Titans and Terror last year, there was no Michael Myers, that he basically teased it, saying he's going to come out and play next year. And a lot of people's main focus for this was, they're going to do Halloween 2018. It's an obvious one because the movie's going to come out. It's a good promotional. And then people, if they go see it, they can come back and revisit the maze if they want to. Or if they haven't been to the event yet, they can go through the maze. I have to say, though, I was a little disappointed it wasn't Halloween 2018, but at the same time, I'm just glad Michael Myers is back in general, and it also gives me an opportunity to walk through Michael Myers' maze without potentially getting spoiled for the movie, so that's pretty good. But other than that, I'm just really excited that Michael Myers is back. Yeah,
so am I. I mean, he's my favorite. That plain emotionless mask like sends chills down my spine, so I'm really looking forward to this one. It's probably going to go when I get to the event, not because these are necessarily my favorite, but my girlfriend loves Stranger Things, so we're probably going to go to the houses in this particular order so far, the order that we've been going. Stranger Things, then straight to Halloween.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. But the next shared property that we have is Trick or Treat, and you're actually getting it in two different forms. We're just getting it as a house. We had it as a scare zone last year.
Yeah.
This one, I think, is going to be a great one on both ends. I feel like they kind of cheaped out by giving you guys a scare zone and a house around the same exact IP. But regardless, it was a great scare zone last year. So if they mimic what we did and bring it to you guys, plus give you the maze, I think you're going to enjoy it. What are your thoughts on this one?
You know what? As for the maze goes, I am very excited. This is one of the best horror movies I've seen in a while. The fact that it's like 3 or 4 different stories that leads up to one giant tie-in at the end. I always thought that was an awesome concept. The same director who did this movie also did the Krampus movie, which was a maze, I think, like 2-3 years ago, and that maze was a good maze. So I have complete faith that Murdy is just going to be loyal and do the same thing like he did with Krampus with this maze, because he collaborated a lot with that director, and that maze turned out awesome. So I don't doubt that this maze is going to be the same. As far as the scare zone, I thought they could have honestly gotten something better. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But nonetheless, I think it's still going to be cool. I've heard when we went into Midsummer Scream, they were talking a little bit about it when it supposedly got leaked, and he started saying that we're going to see some stuff in the maze that we won't see in the scare zone. For example, when the werewolves turn into werewolves, we're going to see them in the process of changing through the scare zone, but when in the maze, they're already going to be werewolves in the maze. So that's something that's pretty cool, because then that means they can put like context and stuff on the actresses who play the werewolves, and you can start slowly seeing them change. And I think that's pretty cool. That's some cool stuff that I definitely want to see both in the scare zone and in the maze. So I'm glad we're seeing both transitions of that. And I'm just excited to see a lot of stuff. Like there's the infamous scene with the school bus and the kids in the quarry. That looks pretty cool. Of course, the end scene that Sam has with the principal or the bus driver when they fight, that's a good scene. The werewolf scene obviously is a good scene. Like the whole movie in general is just a good movie. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how much this maze is filled with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, the scare zone last year, I could tell you, was great. The movie itself, it's not even that old of a movie, but it's already considered like a cult classic.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot about what this movie has done and what it brings to the event. I'm expecting that this is going to be one of the better houses, mazes. Who is it that calls it houses, and who is it that calls it mazes? I know that I think you guys call it something and we call it something else.
We call it mazes, and Mike Aiello said at Midsummer Scream they call it houses. It's just something they've been doing for years.
I'm always back and forth with it. But I think Trick or Treat is going to be a staple at the event. One, and transitioning to the next house that we share is one that I'm not too sure about. I am kind of excited just because of a particular scene of the movie. And that scene is the static TV and the little girl talking to like the disembodied voices. That is Poltergeist. I was not like really in the loop, and I really haven't been in the loop with a lot of them. A lot of them have caught me off guard, but I didn't know Poltergeist really had a chance of coming this year. And now that it is coming, I'm a little excited, but I'm on the fence about this one. How about you?
So I'm going to be real with you right here. I've never seen the original Poltergeist. And
video.
Yeah. See, that's going to get a lot of hate. But I am very excited for this. And it's not something like, oh, this movie sucks, I've never seen it. It's something like I never got around to watching it, which now that it's coming to the event, I get an opportunity to watch it. However, I can say I've seen the 2013 remake, which I don't know if it's any similar. They might have tweaked some stuff just for remake purposes, but I still want to watch the original, being that Steven Spielberg had some producing credit on it, and I love Steven Spielberg, Tobe Hopper. And so I'm really looking forward to this. John Murdy had said that this is going to be the most tech-heavy maze that they've ever done at the event, so that really gets me excited. I'm really curious to see. I am aware, though, of what happens in the movie, of course. It's, they move in to this new neighborhood, and it's built over a graveyard and stuff like that, and that's what starts a poltergeist. And of course, you know, the infamous scene of they're here, she's touching the TV. Of course, I'm excited to see the clown, how they're going to incorporate that, if it's going to be an actual person or a puppet. I'm hoping it's an actual person. That'd be a lot scarier for me, but I'm just really excited to see what they're going to incorporate in this maze. Definitely something me and my cousin do every year before Horror Nights is we watch every property that they do, so we get hyped and we can talk about, like, oh, we want to see that in the maze, or oh, that'd be looking cool in the maze, you know. So very much looking forward to both watching this movie and going through this maze.
Yeah, no, that'll be awesome. You're gonna, within a short amount of time, be able to actually watch the movie and experience it shortly after. But I'm kind of the same way with Killer Clowns. I had seen Killer Clowns, but I don't think I ever sat through the whole entire thing up till it was announced at Halloween Horror Nights, and then that's when I actually watched it all the way through. I know that's one of your favorites, so I'm hurting your feelings here.
That is like my all-time favorite horror movie. And when John very much teased it, like, you might be getting it next year, I was like, damn it, John, don't do that.
Yeah. And we'll get to the scare zones, which I don't think we share any scare zones, but
I think we do, yeah.
The last house is one that we both share and don't share.
We share title-wise, but we don't share property-wise.
Exactly. We share the name, but it's going to be completely different in both coasts. We're going to have two different actual intellectual properties represented in both of them. And I think last year we had 3 intellectual properties represented in it. Did you guys have 3 as well?
We did have 3. We had The Purge, we had Happy Death Day, and we had Sinister.
And we're talking about the Horrors of Blumhouse.
The Horrors of Blumhouse. I'm sorry, yeah. we didn't say that. Yeah, Horrors of Blumhouse, Chapter 2.
Yeah, so we're getting Happy Death Day and
The First Purge.
And The First Purge. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Both movies that I enjoyed. I did a video about this announcement, just this particular announcement, and I said it. Both movies that I enjoyed, but I wasn't looking forward to them coming to the event. But I do like the idea of the Horrors of Blumhouse returning again, and the fact that every single time, because it's based on a movie studio, not based on a particular intellectual property, it's like different. You know, like you have Halloween that comes every so often, and you know what Halloween is. But when the Horrors of Blumhouse is announced, up till we find out what the actual like internal properties are going to be, it's up in the air because this studio has several movies.
Yeah.
There's so many options. So this is a property that could continue to return without actually being like repetitive. It could be completely fresh, completely new. And that's actually something that was pointed out by Thomas from the league when I was watching his video with his new member.
Yeah.
His alter ego.
Yeah, that was great.
That was hilarious. But he pointed that out, and I was like, you know what? That's a good point. Still doesn't excite me. These two properties that they're bringing don't excite me. I think Blumhouse has better properties that they could have represented. But regardless, that is a good point. Next year or when they choose to bring it back, it's always going to be a fresh property. It's not going to be repetition. So that's my thought on it. How about yours?
So I have to say, you guys are getting Happy Death Day, and we got that last year. And Happy Death Day, I'm not gonna lie, is one really good movie that I enjoyed from Blumhouse. And the thing about we had Happy Death Day last year, and the thing about that was we had it, and I went through it before the movie even came out, so I was very much confused. Like, the only thing I was going in was knowledge of the trailer. So now that the movie's out, you guys have a better understanding of, okay, this is going to be, we know what the premise of this movie is, and, you know, you're going to walk through it knowing what's going to happen, and you're going to have more knowledge of it than I did until I saw the movie after. So that's a plus. For me, we're getting Truth or Dare and Unfriended. Now, I've never seen both of those movies. Unfriended was I've seen Ending Explains for Unfriended, and it's the same thing with Truth or Dare, so I know what goes on in the movie and stuff like that. But I just think it's going to be an interesting maze for us. And on top of that, our ending is going to be an original ending. So if you guys aren't familiar, in the Blumhouse opening intro for every movie they come out with, their opening, like, you know, that says Blumhouse Productions, you see a little girl and you see it in a haunted house with a spinning chair and everything. that's going to be our original ending. So they're going to have that little girl, and they're going to tell a tale of why she looks so sad. Is she really evil? You're going to go into this haunted house, and you're going to see maybe she is more sinister than you actually think. So that, honestly, right there kind of saved the whole maze for me, because I'm very much always up for anything original. Anything original is always awesome for me. So that's going to be cool. Truth or Dare, now, however, I am very, very much looking forward to seeing how they do that, because if you guys are not aware, with Truth or Dare, they have this one scene where when they get possessed by the demon, they do these infamous, like, sinister smiles, their eyes get all weird and stuff.
Sure.
So I'm very curious to see how the mask's going to look for that, or, what's going to happen for that. That's going to be an interesting thing. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Unfriended takes place in an entire Skype chat room.
Yeah.
So that's another property that's going to be very interesting to see. So John Murdy very much explained it like it's supposed to be a demon, and you don't see the demon throughout the whole movie, but in the maze we're going to see the demon. So that's going to be very cool to see what the demon's going to look like, and stuff like that. Again, these are two movies I have to check out just for Horror Nights purposes, just so I get an understanding of what I'm going to be walking through, stuff to see like that. So very much looking forward to Horrors of Blumhouse Chapter 2. I've always liked the concept of it. Last year, the concept was, the purge is going on outside, so come inside this theater, and they're going to have a Blumhouse marathon, and it was Happy Death Day and Sinister, and that was cool. And then this year, it's like you come to the Horrors of Blumhouse, and you get, like, it's like they're teleporting you into these movies. So are you going to make it out alive, or, And so I've always liked how they always have little stories behind the properties and stuff. So that's really cool.
And it's two movies that I've watched both of them. You haven't. They're decent movies, but I honestly was surprised at how well they did. Obviously, they both did well enough that I think they're considering sequels for both. And I think one already has a sequel coming out. The Unfriended already has a sequel.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's going on. It's like third movie. I know Dark Web already came out.
Yeah, so they did a lot better than I expected, which is why they're coming. So that'll be interesting. It's definitely not a property that I'm jealous that you guys got and we didn't. But that brings us to the point of where we're going to talk about properties that we do not share.
East and West Coast non-shared properties.
Non-shared, you got 5, I got 3. I'm actually just looking at it right now because we have an all-day attraction that stays around year-round, but they count it towards the event as well. And I'll go ahead and just I'll start with one because I want to save the best one for last, which they shared a lot of stuff yesterday at Scare LA, but I want to save the best one for last, which is Universal's Monsters. So I'm going to start off with the Walking Dead all-day attraction. We have that year-round at the park, but they always include it in the event. And the thing they say every year, and I never see a difference, is they add more zombies than they do throughout the year. And if you're fans of the show, it's really cool to go through. I know early on when this was being built for a while, John Murdy said this wasn't going to be the same thing. They're going to constantly keep changing it. But since it's been open, I haven't seen no changes or no new scenes added to it. And so, it's something that I walk through because it's another maze just to walk through, and it's air conditioned. So,
yeah. So you guys still get The Walking Dead every single year.
It's a full year-round attraction. So
yeah.
It used to be where the House of Horrors was. I'm so sad that they took that out, but now we got Walking Dead, the full day attraction.
Okay. So one of our first non-shared attractions from the Orlando side is Slaughterhouse Cinema, which is truly one of the originals that I'm looking forward to. And I think for the most part, the ones that we don't share are just original houses, at least from my end. I don't know if you got any IPs that we won't be sharing, but for us, it's just original houses. Slaughterhouse Cinema is just going to be like these like cheesy B-grade movies that we're going to be going through, like old school 80s cinema style that is going to be like horrific. This is one of the ones that I have on like towards the top of my list. I'm really looking forward to this one. It just seems like an original idea that a lot could be done with it.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've always wanted to go to Orlando's event too, because they always have original houses every year, and I love the fact of original houses. Original houses for me are awesome because it gives you the creativity to do pretty much whatever you want, and so that's really cool. One of the things that we have original over here is the Terror Tram, because we do a studio tour over here. And so they turn that studio tour into something we call the Terror Tram. So you get to walk on the sets of, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, through the Bates Motel, to the Bates house, and then in the infamous plane crash scene from War of the Worlds, and it ends there. That's just something to do every year. That's always fun for me, especially in a filmmaker's point of view, that I want to be a filmmaker, and walking through those sets, those iconic sets, especially the Bates Motel. Like, that's history you're walking on right there, you know? Like, they filmed Psycho on this thing, and I'm walking on this set. But it's going to be called Hollywood Harry's Dread Time Stories. So we got confirmation that infamous character that we had come to the event, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, Hollywood Harry, who we thought for a while was going to be our start of Icons. But he is making a return, and it's going to be an original thing. I'm very excited for Hollywood Harry to come back. Hollywood Harry, the first time around, you can look it up on YouTube. Crypt TV put out a video of Hollywood Harry roaming the lot and stuff like that, and it was a whole kind of social media thing where like he was just walking around Universal Studios. He used to be part of Universal Studios as a mascot back in the day, but then when clowns became the stuff of fears, he kind of just went off the grid, and then he comes back to Universal Studios and takes it over with his Carney family, who are all sadistic and stuff like them, killing people and stuff like that. So the whole backstory of Hollywood Harry was just phenomenal when it first came around, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen for his sequel, for his return to the event. What are we going to see this time around? What kind of stories are going to be coming? What is he going to bring for us? They have not released a video for the Terror Tram yet, which I'm very much waiting for. It was kind of leaked at the last minute, so I remember John Murdy shared like one tweet about it and then really never talked about it again. So I'm very much curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of his story, and it's a unique character. It's kind of like having a host. So I like the idea that they're using this year for the Terror Tram. That takes me to the next property that Orlando has that we will not be sharing, which is Dead Exposure, which is actually a property that had been done before at Halloween Horror Nights. So popular so that it's being brought back this year. And basically, this is the prequel to the original Dead Exposure house. This is Dead Exposure Patient Zero. So it's going to go back to basically, I think it's France, and how it all started. I don't know if you've actually like looked through what it was like originally. I saw a couple of clips of what it was like originally. So Dead Exposure, they're going off of the idea of basically camera exposure. So sorry about that. Someone texting. But basically, you're going through a completely dark house. You're technically like blind, and every single time that you see like the flash of a camera, you're exposed to what's around you. You don't even know what's around you. My God, I hate when people text me when I'm doing videos. I'm trying to like ignore it, but it's like breaking my my character. But the idea is awesome. The fact that you're going to be in complete darkness, and the only time that you're exposed to the evil around you is when there's a camera flash is amazing. And then also the idea that it's a prequel to a previous maze, and we're going to find out, how we came to be in this zombie apocalyptic world. I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
It sounds awesome. If it's a prequel too, I mean, that's cool that they're bringing back an original maze and they're giving you how it all began. And that also sets up a whole storyline for the future if they ever want to bring it back again for sequels. It's much like a Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead kind of thing, where Walking Dead was, of course, we already got this show and a zombie apocalypse started, and then Fear the Walking Dead shows you how it all began. So I really think that's a cool concept, and if it's supposed to be around 80s theme too, that's going to be really cool, because you can hear a lot of like, I don't know if they'll incorporate a lot of like cheesy 80s like looks and music and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome though. So.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. What else do you have that we don't share? I know that you have a little bit less than we do.
So this is going to be the last, for me at least, non-shared property, and this is the maze that I'm looking forward to the most. After hearing a lot about it yesterday at Scare LA, I cannot wait. This is Universal Classic Monsters, music by Slash. I don't know, man. It's in a way it's an IP, but in a way it's an original maze. The way Murdy put it, and the reason why I say IP because it's all the Universal Classic monsters, but it's an original maze because it's not really any specific movie. They're just taking some of the best scenes from each movie and putting them in the maze. So the concept for this maze, from what I heard yesterday, is you're gonna walk through. They got a lot of inspiration from a graveyard out in London and stuff like that. So I guess the concept is you're gonna walk through this graveyard. It's gonna be all like dead grass everywhere and stuff like that. You're gonna walk through, and what's essentially gonna happen is as you're walking through this graveyard, you're not supposed to be there. You're like trespassing, and you're gonna be awaking the Universal monsters from their sleep, from being dead for all these years. And essentially there's this one character in Frankenstein, her name's Emily. Now it's a very infamous scene in the movie because he's in the movie Frankenstein, he's trying to, throughout the whole movie, he just wants to be loved, he wants a friend, and he finds this little girl named Emily. Now Emily was kind of like being his friend and stuff like that, and there's this one scene where they're throwing flowers into the water, and they run out of flowers, and then Frankenstein, because he's got the mind of like a 2-year-old, he picks up this girl and throws her in the water and essentially ends up killing her. She drowns to death. So they're gonna take that concept, and it's gonna be like, where's she been all these years? Well, she's gonna be rotten and decayed, and she's gonna be coming out and scaring you and stuff like that. And then you're gonna see like the Wolfman and everything and stuff. Then you're gonna walk in Dr. Frankenstein's castle. It's already gonna be on fire and everything. It's supposed to be like after the events of Frankenstein, and they're working on the Bride of Frankenstein. So this should be pretty cool. You're gonna see scenes from Phantom of the Opera. You're gonna see scenes from The Mummy. You're gonna see scenes from the Wolfman, Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's gonna be just the maze itself is awesome. And then when you walk out of the maze, when you're done with the maze, there's the Scare Zone Monster Masquerade, which we'll get to in a bit, which actually ties into the maze. So we got we got a lot of sculpts that we got to see yesterday of all the monsters. We got a lot of concept art of what a lot of the rooms are going to look like. We also got to hear a lot of the music that Slash and their music producer produced for the maze, which we were like the first ones to ever hear it. So that alone was just an awesome experience. If you guys go watch my HHN Scare LA panel, you'll hear a lot of that music in the panel towards the end when they bring Slash out. Slash was just an awesome surprise, though, and I'm very much looking forward to this because, for one, this is the comeback of a music maze, which I've been wanting for a while, since Black Sabbath, and the fact that they're doing a music maze combined with the badass Universal monsters, I am so looking forward to this. Like, the sculpts look scary and everything, so it looks awesome.
Yeah. No, and the idea for this one is awesome. Back to Frankenstein. Yeah, his story is actually like a beautiful story. It was all like a misunderstanding. He just wanted like love. Yeah. So that's interesting. I know that Murdy said that the toughest part about this is making these monsters scary again. So
and let me tell you, dude, the sculpts for this, man, they just look scary. Dracula looks like really scary. The Wolfman looks awesome. They made Frankenstein like a decayed zombie, and he looks like burned, so he looks even scary. The Phantom of the Opera, like he's got acid poured on him. If you guys are not familiar with the Phantom of the Opera, He got acid poured on his face. They're really going with that, and they're gonna make it like even more sadistic than the original. And I'm really looking forward. The Hunchback looks dope.
I'm most interested in seeing your Invisible Man and how they're going to pull that off.
So they showed a concept art in that, and it looked really cool. So in our Halloween 2 maze, when they did it, they had this one room which was an original ending where you saw a bunch of pumpkin heads floating around, and there were some people that were in them. It was an all black room, and the only thing you could see were the pumpkin heads, and they were glowed up like blue, green, different colors and stuff. So it looked like they were just floating heads, and it was a really cool illusion. Now they did show how they're gonna kind of try to pull that off in the Invisible Man. He kind of looks like, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw what he was wearing, he looked like a Hugh Hefner. He was wearing like a robe and like the pajama pants, and he's got, of course, the bandages on for covering his face. But you're gonna see some of the bandages are off, so he's gonna look invisible and stuff. They're gonna try to pull that illusion off again this year, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they do that.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm interested in seeing. I'm always like, when they're forced to use extreme like movie special effects, like in that case, in order to make him look invisible in a house, when physically there, That's going to be an interesting one. With one final point. So it's been rumored that Murdy's been holding off on this because this one's like near and dear to his heart. But when he finally did it, it'd be his swan song.
I've heard that too. And I've not heard anything about him retiring yet. A lot of people have been saying that this is his last year, and he's not come out and said anything about it yet. He's not confirmed it really yet. From what he sounds like, he maybe has 1 or 2 more years left in him. He is in Ireland full time now, so it is a little bit harder for him to come out here as often. And when he does come out here, it's usually for events like Scare LA, Midsummer Scream, and he'll come out for like 2 or 3 weeks to stay in Hollywood to see what's going on with the, with the progress of Halloween Horror Nights. So I'm curious. A lot of people said that this was his last year, and because of Universal Monsters, that if he was gonna go, this was gonna be his last bang. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it yet, and I won't say anything because it's up to the man himself if he wants to retire. I'll respect his decision. I just hope they bring on someone just as creative, if not even more creative, Maybe Mike Aiello can come over.
No. I was with you up till you said that. So it's tough when you lose your like creative master like that. So I'd feel for you guys. I'd respect the man for doing what he has to do. He's been extremely integral in the whole Halloween Horror Nights from the get-go, and he's extremely active with his Twitters. His 2 Twitters that he talks in between.
Yeah.
But you can't have Mike Aiello, sorry. So I'll kind of squeeze the last ones that Orlando has as far as the properties, because they're not properties that are really like blowing me out of my mind, but we have 3 left that you guys only have 7, apparently 8 kind of.
Yeah.
The only one out of this, or actually 2 of them, I'm lying, 2 of them. Carnival Carnage sounds legit. The fact that we're gonna be at kind of like it's a theme park, and we're gonna be able to see a decaying theme park and walk through that, and they're using all like the rusted rides and pieces of the rides all rusted to like kill you. That sounds really cool. Also, we have Seeds of Extinction, which that one I'm just like, I'm leaving it up in the air. It sounds cool, but the more and more I let that idea settle after watching the actual like trailer for it, plants that are going to kill us, a little weird, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Poison Ivy, man.
Right? I've had Poison Ivy before. Have you?
I was thinking about the Batman villain.
Oh. No, I've had actual real Poison Ivy on my arm, and that was terrible.
Oh, that must have sucked.
Yeah, and it lasted forever. But so I guess that is terrifying, right? Seeds of Extinction. There we go. But last but not least, our final announcement was Scary Tales, which is another property that we've had at Halloween Horror Nights before. And basically, as I was telling you earlier, what Scary Tales is they use fairy tale stories that you and I had when we were kids, and basically as we've grown up, those stories have grown up as well and become more sinister. So this year, I believe it's the Wolf and the 2 Little Pig, or the 3 Little Pigs, Oz, which is one that I think is going to be extremely interesting, because there's already like some stories about like what happened on set while filming. One of the like the
Munchkins committed
suicide on the set.
Yeah.
Whether or not that actually happened is like in between. And then Humpty Dumpty, which they've done this in the past with other fairy tales. Humpty Dumpty sounds interesting. Like, I don't know how they're going to make that terrifying, but I'm actually looking forward to this house. It was the last announcement that we had. I actually wished that we would have gotten your announcement, which was the one that you were just talking about.
Universal Monsters.
Universal Monsters. That one sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I actually would have got that instead. But this sounds pretty cool. At first, I thought it was going to be a property that was just going to be the Wizard of Oz style, but then to find out that it's Scary Tales and it's something that we've had in the past that has been extremely successful and they're bringing back is pretty cool. But that rounds up our
mazes.
Actual properties. Yeah, mazes and houses that are shared and not shared for East and West. But moving on to the next basically announcements that we've had was the scare zones.
Scare zones, yep.
Halloween Horror Nights Scare Zone announcements.
So you want to start off with your scare zones?
So yeah, we'll start off. How many scare zones do you have total?
Total scare zones 5.
5. So we both got 5 and 5. So we'll go back and forth. I'll start off with the very first one that got announced at Monsterpalooza earlier in the year, which is Holidays in Hell. And that's going to be taking place in the metro area where we have 3 mazes back there, and it's one of the opening things you go through to get to the mazes. So this one sounds awesome. This is going to take every holiday they have and make them sinister in a way. You know, you got Cupid, leprechauns, and evil Easter bunnies. Of course, you're going to have Krampus. Every holiday is going to be incorporated in this maze, and I'm very, very excited to see how they make the monsters look. We got a couple of sculpts for at Midsummer Scream. They showed of course, the leprechaun and of course, a little bit look of the Easter bunny and and on Twitter he released some of Krampus with his long horns, and it looks amazing. So it's gonna go, of course, by in order from January all the way to December. So that's gonna be really cool. And I'm very much looking for Holidays for Hell. It should be an awesome scare zone.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a cool one. It's kind of like the Scary Tales. You know, they're twisting childhood stories that we've had into an evil, sinister style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on our end, the first ones that were announced were 3, but I'll start off with Vamp 85, which seems to me like it's going to be the coolest one. Apparently, there's going to be like every 30 minutes, there's going to be like a midnight countdown type of like special event that they're going to be doing at this. It's going to be like New Year's in 1985 with a bunch of like vampires.
Nice.
Yeah, so the ball is dropping at the time that this is all taking place. So that actual scare zone, I believe it's going to be the largest scare zone as well that we're going to have at Universal Studios Orlando. And every 30 minutes, they're going to have like a special event that's going to be going on with the ball dropping. And I guess the scare actors are going to be doing something that ends up being a little bit more scary, maybe like some type of like, I don't know, sacrifice of like a regular person by vampires jumping all over him.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a really cool one. The scare zones in general this year didn't really get me too much, but this is one that's sticking out for me.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, especially vampires. I've always liked the concept of vampires and stuff like that, so that's cool. The next one we have over here in Hollywood is one we've had not the 3rd year in a row, but the 3rd year coming back to the event. And it's one transition where you walk from the lower lot all the way to the back lot to get to the metro sets, and then you have to go through this long tunnel, and they call this scare zone Toxic Tunnel. And the basic premise of this tunnel is these like construction workers were working on this like sewer project, and some toxins got loose and they got affected by it. So their like masks and stuff are like stuck on their faces and stuff like that. They're all rotting and stuff like that, corpses and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's all radioactive kind of thing. And when you walk through this tunnel, there's like lights strobing off and everything. And then, you know, they come at you and scare you. I wish they would do something a little bit better, for the tunnel purposes, or, you know, not just really do a tunnel one at all. But either way, it's a scare zone. So I'll take it.
Yeah. And, the next 2 that I'm just going to put these into one just because neither one of them really like blows me out of my mind. And one of them is just basically reutilizing the trick or treat area with like the pumpkins and everything, and the facade that the trick or treat scare zone had last year. So I have an idea it's going to look really nice, but it's going to be strangely reminiscent of what we saw last year. So it's not going to be as great as we think. Rotting pumpkins and, you know, a very like Halloween-y type of like theme. That's the harvest. And then Twisted Traditions. Twisted Traditions, from my understanding, it's going to have a little bit of each house. So some of the monsters that we're going to be experiencing in the houses are going to be there for us to see and basically terrorizing us on the street. Two of the scare zones that, you know, they're original concepts, so those tend to either be surprising or not the best. But like I said, the scare zones aren't what's getting me this year. It's the mazes. But yeah, I put these two together. The last two will be IP ones, but we'll get to those after you. Go ahead.
You have a harvest. We're also doing something called Hell's Harvest, and so you're gonna be. The description says you're entering a pagan harvest festival where the dark spirit of Halloween was born. The streets are filled with strange, bewitched dolls brought to life through dark magic. The army of dolls are looking for the next victim for their human sacrifice. Will it be you? So it looks like they're messing with some dark magic, and they're going to be a lot of dolls walking around and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to Hell's Harvest. That should be pretty interesting, especially if they're going to make these dolls look really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. The last time I've seen anything Dolls Incorporated was actually at Knott's Scary Farm, which is another event we have out here on the West Coast, and they did a whole maze dedicated to dolls, and it was pretty freaky. So I'm very interested. I'm very fascinated and very interested to see how this one's going to turn out, especially because it's Horror Nights. They do all out stuff, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
The next one that we have is one that I think is going to be pretty cool. The concept sounds interesting. It's an IP concept, so it's something that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, and it's the fear of dolls, and that's the Revenge of Chucky. They're going to be having a bunch of like dolls all over the place that are coming to life. Chucky is doing something to bring them all to life to terrorize our lives. I think this, Chucky is Chucky.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a staple at the event. He's been around for a while. I know you guys used to have like Chucky's Insult Emporium or something like that. Yeah. So I think this is going to be one of those where I'm not too excited, but I'll enjoy it just as well.
Should be good. Chucky's always fun to play around, especially if they get small actors and actresses to get in the costumes and stuff. That's always the scariest, even more. So the next one we're going to have that you guys had last year, of course, was Trick or Treat. And like I said, I am very much looking forward to seeing what they do as far as the werewolves. We're going to see them in the transformation phase. Like I said, in the maze, they're already going to be werewolves, so that's going to be cool. And we're going to see a lot of the, of course, the zombie school children walking around, some of the vampires from the movie, and of course, Sam, who's going to be walking around, which will be really cool. You can't go wrong with Sam. Sam is going to be cool. So, one thing I am curious of is if we're going to see both masked and unmasked Sam. I know that's going to be probably one thing we're going to see in the maze, but I want to know if we're going to see it both in the maze and in the scare zone. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I can't say that I remember seeing him unmasked in the scare zone, but I believe they've promised that we will see him unmasked in the maze or house.
Yeah, him being unmasked it's a scary sight. So,
yeah. And last but not least, for our scare zones here in Orlando, is your favorite. I saved it on purpose.
Yep.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I don't remember watching the movie all the way through. Before. I have seen parts of it in the past growing up, but I watched it fully through as soon as this was announced, and it looks like a horribly good movie.
I can tell you every part of that movie, honestly.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much that I'm already seeing stuff on Twitter in Orlando of people taking pictures of some set pieces, and I'm like, that's the spaceship, holy crap, and I'm just getting excited. I'm so jealous. That's my all-time favorite. Seeing some sculpts at Midsummer Scream, I hope you get some good footage of that, because that is the scare zone I want to see the most.
So a cool thing, I was watching Tim Tracker actually, and he was doing a little review of like the construction for Halloween Horror Nights. And Universal Studios now has like a new nighttime like light show, water show, where they actually use like water and project images onto the water of like dinosaurs and Harry Potter and all these like crazy things. That's not going to be running through Halloween Horror Nights, but they're using some of the projectors and projector technology for the Killer Clown Scare Zone because it's right there. So the Killer Clown Scare Zone is right around where the Transformers ride is, and that's right in front of the water, which is where those projectors are. They're going to be using the projection technology against the building, and I believe he said like every 30 minutes or once an hour, the actual like ship tent is going to be taken off.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh shoot, if they're going to be using that type of technology, I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh,
And it's going to be projected up against the building to make the buildings look like their ship tent.
I've literally and I tweeted at Mike Aiello too, and I'm like, I'm so jealous that you guys have killer clowns, and he liked that tweet, and it was funny. And there's a lot of things that I would love to see in that scare zone, and if Murdy sticks to his word, we're supposed to be getting it next year for a maze. So if we're gonna get a maze and a scare zone, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
That's one property I can deal with both as a maze and a scare zone. And I hope Murdy is not just saying that just to play with our heads, because I've been dying for a Killer Clowns Outer Space maze. I thought this year would have been perfect because it's the 30th anniversary, but I'm hoping, since the actual creators of Killer Clowns from Outer Space said that they got some stuff for a sequel planned in the works in the next coming years, and they said really next year is going to be like where they're going to start announcing stuff, it'd be so perfect to bring it to the event. Another thing I'm hoping they do for you guys in the scare zone is, if you guys know, that movie has an iconic score to it, as far as like the electric guitar and stuff, and the iconic theme song for it, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, made by the Dickies. And I'm hoping they play that throughout the scare zone for you guys. I'm just excited to see what clowns they're going to incorporate, though, because there's so much they can use. They can do original ones. I want to see like the little ray guns and stuff like that. Growing up as a kid watching that movie used to scare the crap out of me. And now I watch it, it's such a funny, cheesy horror movie, and the clowns to this day, 30 years later, still live up to their reputation of being scary. So props to you guys. I hope it's a phenomenal scare zone, and I can't wait to see it.
yeah, and the clowns are huge, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how they like make them, how the masks are going to look, and are they going to look as huge as they look in the movie?
You know what? Seeing the sculpts of the mask, it looks like they're going to be about the same, as big as they are in the movies. So that should be cool. And they're known for, of course, those big clown shoes and the big costumes they wear. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this is going to be put together. I hope it comes to Hollywood next year. Crossing my fingers. It's already a prediction I'm making for next year. So,
Well, if not, you could watch and cry my big
cry.
on
Yeah, be
while
like, oh, I could have went this year, and no.
Yep.
So yeah, that's gonna leave it out to me, which is gonna be the scare zone I'm looking forward to the most after hearing a lot about it yesterday, which is Monster Masquerade. So you're gonna see the likes in this one of Phantom of the Opera and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it's gonna be cool. The score for this maze and this scare zone, I have to tell you, I think there's like 20 tracks they did, or 22 tracks that they did just for this alone, and it's awesome. He said that you're gonna hear a song through every part of this maze you go through. Every transition's gonna have its own kind of song. Even when you walk out, there's gonna be like, they made this like dubstep song that Slash actually incorporated some guitar in, and it's really cool because the ending for this maze sounds awesome. It's like you're gonna walk out and you're going to see the Bride of Frankenstein, and then Frankenstein's going to hit the switch, and everything's just going to explode, and you're supposed to be dead after that, and that's when they're going to play the dubstep song, and then you're going to walk out and go into the Monster Masquerade scare zone, which kind of is almost in a way a continuation of the maze. So this maze and this scare zone are looking to be probably the most hyped thing at the event, especially music done by Slash. He's done music for us before in a maze called Clowns 3D, which was a fantastic maze. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this is going to be awesome. How awesome this is going to look, how they're going to make everything. And also, we got confirmation that not only is it going to be Phantom of the Opera and Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it's going to be all the monsters are going to be incorporated in Monster Masquerade, and they're going to be in their decayed forms, but they're going to be wearing like funny little masks of them. So Frankenstein's going to wear like a funny little Frankenstein mask of a masquerade. The Wolfman, the same thing. So that should be pretty cool to see. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Nice. So that brings us to basically let's first just wrap up exactly everything. The event is completely announced, guys. We've gone over everything, given you our insights as far as what we think of the mazes and scare zones coming this year on both East and West Coast. Next, I want to transition us into our top 5 that we're looking forward to as far as properties this year.
Top 5 properties.
You You want me to go ahead and go first then?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me your list.
So I'm gonna go from 5 being the worst, but it's not really the worst. Just that's how I'm leveling it, to 1 being the best. I'm gonna start off with number 5. It's gonna be probably, it's really hard, honestly. But out of the 9, the 5 that I'm looking forward to. So number 5, I'm gonna say, is gonna be Poltergeist. Number 4 will be Stranger Things. 3, Trick or Treat. 2, Halloween 4, and then the number 1 maze I'm looking forward to the most is Universal Monsters.
Nice. So for me, I'll do the same thing. I'll go backwards from 5 to 1. So for me, it's going to be Poltergeist 5, Dead Exposure 4, Stranger Things 3, then Slaughterhouse 2, and Halloween 4, of course, numero uno.
There you go. So that was the complete list, the complete scare zones, mazes, non-properties, IPs, everything, So that's the complete lineup for both Orlando and Hollywood, another West versus East Coast edition of the Halloween Horror Nights. What's going to be our next topic? What should we talk about next? We got a lot of stuff we can talk about.
Why don't we try to see if we could get some people to comment down below? Let us know what they would like us to talk about next. The event's getting closer to being to fruition, so hopefully we could get another video in before then from East and West, but maybe our next video is something incorporating the event already happened and us already experiencing it.
Yeah, so you heard Eddie here. Leave a comment down below to see what you guys want to see next in the West versus East Coast. If you want to know a little bit more about the East Coast, we'll let Eddie Tammet talk, and I'll comment in. If you want to know about the West Coast out in the East Coast, I can talk, and Eddie can comment in. Or if you want to just have another battle between us, it would be fun because we have fun making this. This is a series that just me and him do. We had this idea, and not I don't think anyone does it. I think we're like the first people to do it. So that's something cool that we incorporated. So. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this video. It's been awesome. We talked about the events, and I'm very much looking forward to both events to see how they do. Make sure to hit that like button, the subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and we will see you guys in the next one.
And don't forget to ask yourself, have you been entertained?